right now on 5 on your side at 10.
Tonight, taxpayer dollars piling up. It's earmarked to make improvements in St. Louis.
The city overall is in rough shape.
So why are millions of dollars going unused? Plus, reducing overdoses. Tonight, a local university is spending $6 million, doubling down on efforts to battle opioid deaths.
But first tonight, drenching downpours so far this evening, and another line of thunderstorms is on the way. That has us in a weather alert for the next few hours.
Right now, it's just rain coming down in St. Louis, and you can expect more overnight. Good evening. Thank you for being with us. I'm Ann Allred.
And I'm Mike Bush. We shouldn't expect anything severe like what this same storm system delivered when it moved through Arkansas earlier today. These are new images coming into our newsroom of damages to a school near Hot Springs caused by a possible tornado. We are in a weather alert tonight, so let's get straight over to Weather First Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell.
Mike and Ann, this evening we've had showers, we've had thunderstorms in St. Louis, we've had some downpours, no severe weather here locally, and odds are we're not going to get that into the overnight hours tonight. But there are more showers and thunderstorms coming in from the west. You can see from Farmington stretching right on up towards Sullivan, that line pushing up Highway 44 and now up Highway 55, moving in towards St. Genevieve, crossing over the river. We look back to the southwest, coming through Springfield and through the Ozarks, more thunderstorms, a lot more lightning with that too, and some wind gusts to about 30 miles per hour with those thunderstorms. Again, nothing severe there. It's all lifting towards St. Louis, so this next batch will keep us in that weather alert until about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. That's when the showers and thunderstorms slide off to the east of St. Louis and generally out of the area. The fog has lifted, though, across the region as we at this point are looking at showers and thunder continuing through the evening. Potentially some locally heavy rain. It's brief, shouldn't cause any major flooding, and the severe threat looks to stay minimal for us. We're focusing that much farther to our south, southern portions of Arkansas, down into northern Louisiana. More about the changes coming our way over the next few days in a few minutes, Mike.
All right, Scott, thanks. We have breaking news tonight from the sports world. A hugely important NFL football game was of no importance after a player on one of the teams, Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin, collapsed after a play in Cincinnati. At this hour, he is in critical condition and the game has been postponed. Sports director Frank Cusimano joins us now with the latest information. Frank.
Well, Mike, it looked like an ordinary tackle, the ones that defensive backs make all the time on wide receivers. But after Damar Hamlin of the Bills hit T. Higgins of the Bengals, he got up, he collapsed, and he never got up again. It was a chilling moment. Players were either in tears or in a state of shock. The 24-year-old defensive back received CPR. He's in critical condition at UC Hospital. His mother attended the game and got in the ambulance with him. The game was postponed. I can't get over thinking about his mother who went to watch her son live out his dream of playing in the NFL and now seeing him fight for his life. As you mentioned, sports don't seem to matter tonight.
No, and I'm reminded, Frank, when I was a kid, 1971, Chuck Hughes of the Detroit Lions collapsed on the field. Hank Gathers on the basketball court. It's just a reminder of the risk many of these athletes take.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, Frank.
St. Louis streets are long overdue for upgrades. Elected officials have promised repairs are on the way. New tonight, our political editor Mark Maxwell takes a look at a little-known fund aldermen can use to make those improvements on their own.
Candidates running for the Board of Aldermen have to file petitions by the end of this week if they hope to appear on the ballot later this spring. And with a number of incumbents lining up to run against each other, the decisions they've made and the money they've spent in office now coming under closer scrutiny.
Few places in St. Louis show signs of distress walking the city streets.
I don't trust them because they're not doing their job. It's obvious they're not.
Mona Gardner lives in the 24th Ward and pleaded with her alderman to do something.
Please do your job and fix these roads because I have seen people pop their tires, almost have wrecks and everything out here. It's madness.
In addition to state and federal funds for major roads and highways, City Hall doles out more than $300,000 every year to each ward. Each alderman can use that money however they see fit.
And we spend it all.
A recent review of city spending records showed Alderman Joe Vaccaro spends more of his ward capital funds than any other of his colleagues. Some on surveillance cameras in Tillis Park, and more on patching potholes or planting trees.
The city overall is in rough shape.
Are the aldermen responsible for fixing that?
Well, technically, yes.
And it's a big pot of money to be sitting on.
The biggest pot of unspent ward capital money in the 1st Ward, where Alderwoman Sharon Tyus tops the list with $1.9 million.
You have a bigger pile of money than everybody else.
I do, because they won't spend it.
Tyus blames obstacles in the mayor's office, claiming 3 consecutive mayors have blocked her request to spend ward capital.
I have over about $1.5 million or $2 million that's supposed to be done on curbs. They haven't. I've been requesting. I can show you the letter since 2013.
Tyus showed copies of emails she sent to city staff who worked for previous mayors Lyda Crewson and Francis Slay, where she asked to install trash cans or for bids for stronger, safer curbs. Some of those improvements are promised in a bill to spend millions of dollars in federal pandemic relief funds, but the chair of the Streets Committee says that work is taking too long.
And the mayor can sit on money just like she's been doing, just like the previous mayor did, just like the previous. They just sit on it and say, look, she's not spending the money.
Reporting in St. Louis, Mark Maxwell, 5 on your side.
In a recent op-ed, Mayor Jones criticized the ward capital program, saying, quote, the current fragmented system isn't working, unquote. You can see how your aldermen spent their ward capital funds on our website, ksdk.com.
Tomorrow, the state of Missouri is set to execute the first openly transgender inmate in the country. Amber McLaughlin was convicted of killing her ex-girlfriend 19 years ago. She is scheduled to die tomorrow by lethal injection. Attorneys for McLaughlin have asked Governor Mike Parson for clemency.
Tonight, St. Louis County police are investigating the shooting death of a man in North County. It happened this afternoon at the River Trace Townhomes off Dunn Road and Lilac. Anyone with information, please call Crime Stoppers, 866-371-TIPS. Tonight, a big boost to fighting a growing epidemic, opioid overdoses. The University of Missouri-St. Louis Addiction Science Team is getting roughly $6 million to expand training and distribution of naloxone.
Yeah, that's the drug that can reverse the effects of an overdose. Our Laura Barczewski joins us now with where the funding is coming from. Laura?
Mike and Ann, it's coming from the state after it received money from big opioid pharmaceutical settlements. The head of the program says it's going to at least double the number of doses of naloxone they're able to hand out and lives it will hopefully save.
Fentanyl hasn't stopped, and fentanyl has plagued not just inner city neighborhoods, it's in the rural areas.
In 2021, 2,163 people died from drug overdoses in Missouri, according to the Missouri Department of Health, showing there is a need in the state to expand harm reduction training and distribution programs.
A big chunk of that is naloxone, the opioid overdose reversal medication that essentially brings people back to life when they are dying, in the process of dying from an overdose from some type of opioid, which can include heroin, fentanyl, prescription pills.
Rachel Winograd with UMSL's Addiction Science Team says in addition to getting naloxone, they also spend time and money actually giving it to organizations across the state and training them to use it.
So we buy both the brand name Narcan, which is a nasal spray that like Flonase that you just spray up your nose or someone else's nose, or we also are purchasing the intramuscular variety, which comes with a vial and syringe that you can stick into anyone's big muscle.
One of the organizations giving out naloxone on a daily basis is Faith, Hope, and Love Worship Center in downtown St. Louis.
We walk the streets, you know, and we go to the places where they are. So sometimes it may be a filling station, maybe a liquor store.
The center's pastor, Pamela Paul, says she's lost too many family members and friends to drug overdoses and has seen how naloxone can turn someone's life around when a random man came into her church just before Christmas.
And he said that he had overdosed 15 times. And all I could do was just stare at him and think, wow. You know, he said, I don't know why I'm here. He said, but I'm not using anymore, you know, and I'm pushing forward with my life. And he said they had to save me with Narcan.
Winograd says an easy saying to remember in a drug overdose situation is ABC. Administer naloxone, breathe for the person, and call 911. If you need naloxone or your organization does, we have information on ksdk.com. And
a busy week in Jefferson City getting underway tomorrow. Governor Mike Parson will swear in Andrew Bailey as Missouri's new Attorney General. Parson picked Bailey, who served as the governor's general counsel, to replace Eric Schmidt, who was elected to the U.S. Senate. And the 2023 legislative session gets underway on Wednesday. Tomorrow, we'll hear from the new House leadership. Our political editor, Mark Maxwell, will be in Jeff City to cover both events. Look for his stories on air and on ksdk.com.
The St. Louis community gathered today to pay tribute to a former football star who gave so much back to his hometown. This afternoon, hundreds gathered at Chaffetz Arena to celebrate the life of Demetrius Johnson. The former NFL and Mizzou player died Christmas Eve at the age of 61 from a rare heart condition. His foundation has helped countless underprivileged families in our area. Today, local dignitaries, former teammates, and even our own Frank Cusavano spoke about the legacy that Johnson leaves behind.
We celebrate his life today, but the only way we should celebrate it is by making a promise, each and every one of us, to continue what he's done in St. Louis for the last 30 years.
Frank will have more on today's service later in sports.
An unexpected side effect, driving up demand for diabetes drugs. Tonight, the shortage it's causing for those who really need the medicine. Family medicine.
We got into this little game called Operation. She was about 4.
The aspiring surgeon here in St. Louis, inspired by the doctor she calls Dad.
The Weather First weather alert continues as showers and some more storms march towards St. Louis. When these storms clear the area and the changes coming our way in this first week of the new year.
Well, it's been said that a good example is even more valuable than good advice. And one local dad is proving that. We've been looking back at some of our Making a Difference reports from 2022. And here's the story of one local doctor giving new meaning to the term family medicine.
You have an ice, please. You bet.
Even more than scalpels and forceps, the most important tools for a surgeon are the hands.
Today we're going to do an aortic valve replacement.
And on this day, 4 hands are better than 2.
All right, honey, this is going to be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Dr. Sophia Roberts is a second-year Washington University resident.
Okay, now here's the way you do this.
Training to become a cardiothoracic surgeon.
ACT was 613.
Less than 5% of heart surgeons are women, but making this even more unique is that the doctor she's assisting today
All right, give me another one. Coming up.
Is her dad.
And this is a pretty complicated case, but she, if I say so myself, she did a really good job.
Following in her father's footsteps began at an early age. Her path cemented after dinners out with the family.
Inevitably, some family would come up to our table and say, "Oh, Dr. Roberts, you don't remember me, but you operated on my mother and gave her 10 extra years with us. Or you operated on me and now I'm here with my family." And that had a big impact on me as a kid.
From then on, she was a girl who preferred scrubs to skirts.
We got into this little game called Operation. She was about 4. My sister Beth said, she was really good at that. Actually,
Oh, no. Oh, my God.
I've got her one. Let's just see.
That's awful.
Oh, she did it.
Whoa.
Whoa.
All right, there we go.
Here's one thing you can see here.
Though she was raised in South Florida, training at Washington University was always the dream.
That's pretty normal.
Her mom is from Belleville, so she'd visit the area often.
My grandmother had surgery here. My grandfather's been hospitalized here. It's a place that I would want my family members to go to. So to me, growing up, this was always kind of like the pinnacle of medicine.
After graduating from Yale and Ohio State University College of Medicine, she arrived in June of 2020. A year later, her dad would follow in her footsteps.
Her left ventricle was terrible.
After 30 years as a cardiac surgeon in Florida and West Virginia, he texted with the news that he received an offer to work for Washington University's renowned Heart and Vascular Program.
My immediate response was yes, you have to do this.
Trust me, if she's like, oh, please, don't do that, I wouldn't have come.
Take Your Daughter to Work Day wasn't just one day a year when Sophia was younger. She'd go with Dad to the hospital all the time.
Here's the way you do this.
They're still going to the hospital, only now it's to perform surgery together.
The thing I'm really looking forward to is this will be the first of many. One thing you do, you can feel it here.
Following Dad's example and his advice.
It's mostly just you have to love what you do, and what you do needs to sustain you for an entire career.
Hey, you did a great job.
Dr. Roberts and Dr. Roberts. Their family business is healing.
I got to tell you, she came in like a champ.
And here's a reminder as we start a new year, we get our Making a Difference stories from you. It's a way to put positive news on the news. If you know an inspiring person or someone making a difference for others, let me know by email at mbush@kstk.com.
Losing weight is a New Year's resolution for many, and some could turn to a social media trend. Influencers have been using diabetes medications like Ozempic. One of the side effects is weight loss. This has caused a spike in demand across the country, and now people who need those drugs to treat diabetes are having a hard time filling their prescriptions. Pharmacists say those patients need to plan ahead.
We eventually get the medicine for the patient, or the patient eventually finds it. It just is a situation where they might need to order it several days ahead of time.
Currently, there are no regulations on doctors prescribing these drugs for off-label use, but many insurance companies won't cover it without a diagnosis. The 134th Rose Parade took place in Pasadena, California today. St. Louis was well represented. The Budweiser Clydesdales marching down Colorado Boulevard. They've been part of the parade for 70 years. And then right here, St. Louis-based Lutheran Hour Ministries. They won a Director's Award for the stained glass and the lambs depicted on their float. It's called A New Day with Jesus. This is the 72nd time the ministry has participated in the Rose Parade.
Well, as we told you at the top, we are in a weather alert tonight. Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell rejoins us now with a weather first forecast.
And you know, Mike and Ann, the good news that we have is it doesn't appear as though we're going into storm alert overnight tonight, because these storms just not able to get all of the ingredients in a recipe for severe weather here locally. Now, this is a pretty impactful storm system across a good chunk of the middle part of the country. And you see the winter weather on the cold side of the system to our north and to our west. The severe threat's been to our south today, and the greatest severe threat now down into Arkansas, southern portions of Arkansas, especially northern Louisiana, but a lot of moisture still sliding across the bi-state region. One batch of showers and thunderstorms rolling on through. The heaviest rain in southeast Missouri, southern Illinois. The batch coming from the west and southwest of us now. It's also producing some cloud ground lightning, some rumbles of thunder, and some downpours. The leading edge of this now getting closer to St. Louis as it's sliding in now across northern portions of Jefferson County, moving in towards Eureka, heading towards Fenton, and moving in towards the Chesterfield Valley in the next 10 to 15 minutes. You get the heavier rain as you head back down just west and southwest of Rolla. That's where we have those stronger thunderstorms moving up Highway 44, but they haven't been severe there either. And so it looks like as we head through the remainder of the evening, we're watching this next wave come on through. So between midnight and say 1 or 2 o'clock, we'll watch these scattered showers and thunderstorms. You'll hear some rumbles of thunder, but then they scoot on off to the east and out of the area by early tomorrow morning. We're still warm tomorrow morning in the lower 60s. Any showers and storms off to our east and southeast. The second front comes swinging in tomorrow afternoon. That'll open the door to cooler temperatures. There might even be an isolated shower or thunderstorm off to the east or southeast tomorrow of St. Louis. But for most of us, it'll be a pretty bright, breezy afternoon. Gusty winds, mid to upper 60s early in the afternoon. Then tomorrow evening temperatures start to tumble. And tumble they will, back into the 30s out the door early on Wednesday. You're looking at a variably cloudy sky across the area Wednesday. More clouds that are thicker north of St. Louis, partly cloudy farther south. Temperatures a little more typical for this time of year. At least the clouds have lifted a little bit. We can see the arch. 61 degrees right now. 62's been our high. Temperatures holding steady, if not going up a bit over the next few hours towards daybreak. And again, we have about 3 more hours, maybe 4 more hours where we're dealing with showers and storms around St. Louis as this next batch pushes in, and then they're gone. Tomorrow, mainly dry, breezy. It actually turns out to be a bonus kind of day in the upper 60s, close to 70 degrees. May have a record high. Then it cools off Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, feeling more like January.
We have had a very nice stretch.
Yes.
Scott, thank you. Frank is here to tell us what's coming up in sports.
Well, a chilling moment in the NFL tonight. We'll have that story, and we say goodbye to a St. Louis legend.
The Sports Desk is sponsored by Jim Butler Chevrolet, the Chevy powerhouse.
So here has been the silver lining for the Blues not playing well this season. At the trade deadline, you will have 2 valuable pieces to trade to rebuild for the future. Well, on second thought, you may not. Those two pieces may not be healthy at the deadline. Vladimir Tarasenko has a hand injury. He will be reevaluated in 4 weeks. Ryan O'Reilly has a broken hand. He will be reevaluated in 6 weeks. So who knows if they will even be tradable on that deadline date of March 3rd. So how do you get out of this 500 funk without two fine players?
You know, we got to really rely on everybody here. Everybody as a team. That's how we're going to get out of it, by playing real good team hockey and everybody contributing and stepping up here and, you know, carrying the load.
You just look at the underlying stats. Our defensive game is poor, and we need our best players to play better defending.
The Winter Classic was at Fenway Park today. The Bruins and Penguins came out in vintage baseball uniforms, and the great Bobby Orr was on hand. But Jake DeBrusk was the real star of the day. He scored twice in the third period, including the game winner with just over 2 minutes to play. Boston wins 2-1. As you saw earlier, players were in a state of shock tonight in Cincinnati. They were openly praying. Damar Hamlin, a 24-year-old defensive back with the Bills, collapsed. We're not going to show it to you. He received CPR. He was transferred to UC Hospital in Cincinnati, where he's in critical condition. The game was postponed. So we celebrated the 61-year-old life of Demetrius Johnson today. He always used the word big. What's going on, big dog, big man, big fella? Well, today was a big memorial service. About 2,000 came to Shavitz to pay tribute to DJ. Mayor Jones proclaimed it Demetrius Johnson Day. Nice gesture. St. Louis County Prosecutor Wesley Bell gushed about his passion. Mizzou was in the house. How about Rolandis Woodland, Will Franklin, and Luther Burden? Travis Ford was on hand. So too was his fellow coach at SLU, Corey Tate. The great Mike Jones was also there. Demetrius touched a lot of people in our town.
Over time, the one thing that wasn't different with him, he was the same person, committed, always trying to help somebody else and wanting to make sure he could make some kid's life better than one he grew up in. And so those are the things I appreciate about him, because of the fact he was so consistent, feisty, but yet consistent.
You sit here and you listen to all the different people he impacted, from guys you would never think to world famous people. So he was always the same person, as you can see, with every single one. He's going to tell you what he thought, and he's going to try and help you the best way he can.
You could be driving down the road, or you could be sitting at your desk at work, and he'd call up and say, hey, I'm just thinking about you. I want you to know I love you. That's the essence of DJ. He loved everybody and wanted to make sure that you knew it.
When I think about DJ, I think about do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with your Lord. And that was DJ. He loved justice. He fought for justice every day in this city. He loved being merciful and giving out and giving back to the community, and I respect him for those things.
The ReliaQuest Bowl, Illinois, Mississippi State, Tommy DeVito with the touchdown, 7-3 Illini. It was 10-10 with 1:47 to go, and the Bulldogs marched 68 yards down the field. Simeon Price with a run to turn it into a makeable field goal, and Massimo Biscardi delivered as Mississippi State takes the lead and adds a touchdown to ice it, the final 19-10. It's great. And that'll do it in sports.
All right, Frank, thanks.
Coming up, feeling lonely? Turns out you're not alone in St. Louis. Why we're being called one of the loneliest cities.
Well, you may want to pick up a Mega Millions ticket tomorrow. The jackpot has grown to $785 million. That's the fourth largest in the game's history. You have until 8:59 tomorrow night to buy your tickets in Missouri. Over in Illinois, the cutoff is 9:45 p.m.
St. Louis apparently is one of the loneliest cities in America. That's according to the U.S. Census Bureau. The Gateway City ranks behind Washington, D.C., so we're second. According to data, 47% of homes are single-person household. That's what they're basing it on. Nearly 22% are men, 25% are women.
And we're still in a weather alert. Scott joined us now with a final update.
But we're not expecting severe weather overnight. You are going to hear the rumble of thunder. It may wake you up in many spots here over the course of the next couple of hours. Some downpours. Radar showing those showers and thunderstorms streaming towards St. Louis. but they're not severe, and the ingredients for severe weather not coming together around St. Louis tonight. That is all going to be focused well to our south, and this will all be gone by the time you wake up tomorrow morning when Anthony talks to you on Today in St. Louis.
And there you have it. 5 on your side at 10. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is next.
Jimmy's guest tonight, Jerry Seinfeld and Bruce Springsteen. Start your day with Today in St. Louis at 4 a.m. and have a great tomorrow.